services. I was gonna correct that and say that's what they called them back then. Skip. They didn't call them flight attendants. Skip, you remember Michael Jordan said that Michael said he had a feeling that this documentary would have people to look at him in a negative light. And he was concerned about that. But Skip Bayless, you know me, you've been working with me for 4 years, and people have told you about me. I'd have whipped Mike's ass. Mike would have had to whip me, or I'm gonna whip him. Because for you to tell someone not to feed me because you don't think I had a good game, Skip Bayless, we gonna fight every day until I beat Mike. Because this is not about, Skip, this is not about a basketball game. And sometimes, Skip, you gotta be willing to take an ass cutting to prove a point. Now, Mike might whip me, but I'm gonna make it so difficult he never wanna fight me again. That would have never, ever happened. You ask anybody that played with me in my 14 years to go back to Savannah State, the one thing I would not tolerate is disrespect. Skip, you don't have to respect me, but I'll be damned if I let you disrespect me. And you gonna whip my ass or I'm gonna whip yours, but I'm gonna get it. Man, Skip, where they do this at? You think because you Michael Jordan that you can say, oh, don't feed? Skip, I'm not a child, I'm not a, Skip. People do that when they neglect animals. The animal does something, he potties in the house, you don't feed him. Or he does something, you don't feed him. And you think you can have that kind of pull because you Michael Jordan. You the best player in the NBA. You selling shoes, you can do that? Skip Bayless, I guarantee you this would have had a very different ending. Because that would have got out. I would have, from the front of the plane to the back of the plane, I said, today, I'm going to put a stop to this. Either you going to beat me or I'm going to beat you. But this going to stop today, Skip Bayless. This is unacceptable. I don't care if he's scoring 50 points a game. I don't care if he the greatest 15 times over. Skip Bayless, I will not stand for disrespect, especially by somebody that we're supposed to be in this thing together with. Absolutely not.
Shannon Sharpe, you are trying to project yourself onto Horace Grant. Horace Grant is not in the Basketball Hall of Fame. You are in the Pro Football, the NFL's Hall of Fame, Canton, Ohio. So you can't put yourself in his shoes because you wouldn't have been in his shoes. They didn't have a Shannon Sharpe on their team. They had Charles Oakley, who might have qualified for Shannon Sharpe, cut out of the same mold.
Oh, yeah, Oak was
he wasn't.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Oak, he wasn't as talented at what he did as you were at what you did, but in size, stature, toughness, physicality, yes, you would be equal. But the point was, Oak was only on that team for so long, and to Jerry Krause's, to his credit, he got rid of him. And I don't think Michael wanted Oak to go to the Knicks, but he let him go. So the point was that Michael Jordan was the unquestioned leader of this team. And he led by example and he led by deed. So again, you're right. I think today's Jordan at 57 had real reservations about, am I going to come across as a horrible person? Well, this story wasn't in the documentary. I don't think, maybe it will be, but Sam Smith just told this to, I believe, a San Francisco radio station. So Sam Smith did write the book called The Jordan Rules. And by the way, who has in the documentary Michael Jordan condemned as the quote-unquote Judas in the locker room who betrayed him to Sam Smith, who was the #1 locker room source? It was Horace Grant. So I think Horace probably had the same feelings that you had, but there's no way he's going to want to challenge Michael Jordan to a fight because I don't think he could have beaten him in a fight. This is just me. I don't think Shannon Sharpe could have beaten Michael Jordan in a fight, though I think it would have been a hellacious good fight. That's just me. But in the end, this is how Michael Jordan led. if he didn't like what Steve Kerr was doing in practice and he warned him and Steve Kerr did it again and hard fouled him or Will Perdue set a hard pick again after he was warned, they got busted in the face. Well, he motivated by fear. So I think it's vintage Jordan, and I don't have any problem with it whatsoever, that if Horace didn't live up to the standards that Michael had set for him as a performer, as a basketball player, then Michael was liable on the team flight home to tell the flight attendant no food for him. And again, it's not like he locked him in a closet for 2 days and didn't let him eat. He just didn't get a post-game flight home meal. I'm sure he ate when he got home and he's fine. But, okay.
No. Guess what I would have ate? I would have ate his plate. I'd have took his plate. I'd like, you ain't got to serve me. I'm going to take his food. Let me tell you how I do things, Skip Bayless. I was growing up, and I was always, you know, I wasn't the biggest person, but I didn't bother anybody, and I didn't want anybody to bother me. But one thing I wouldn't tolerate, the one thing that I still hate to this day, I hate mofos that prey on the weak. You think because you bigger, you badder, you're more well-known, you can say, do whatever you want to somebody. I don't get down like that. I never have. I never would. Skip, I remember my sophomore year in college. Skip, you know what they call rush fraternities. Guys are trying to cross over. They would send the guys come down to our dorm to ask for money. Skip, money was tight back then. But you using them guys so they can go, you can go get McDonald's and get donuts and all that stuff. I got two of my teammates. It was me, Mike Wallace, and Steve Gerald. I said, bro, put your shoes on. Come go with me. I don't need you to say anything. And I went down there. I said, I tell you what, if y'all send them down there one more time and they knock on my door or anybody on the second floor door, y'all gonna have to whip me or I'm gonna whip y'all. And I'm gonna tell you one thing. Mayor Porter didn't send me down here to take no ass cuttings. I said, don't send them down to the dorm again. From that point on, not only from 88 and 89 did not anybody come on that second floor. Don't play with me, Skip. Because like I said, you gonna have to beat me or I'm gonna have to beat you. It's as simple as that.
No. Shannon, no. You're accusing Michael Jordan of being a bully, and I'm telling you,
that's what he was
just being a leader. He was not. He was being the leader of the best basketball team in the world. He had a rage to win championships, period, end of story. He didn't care about Horace Grant. He just needed him to help Michael a little bit to win another championship. And he did help a little bit, sometimes a lot, but mostly just a little. And yet he also ratted on him behind the scenes because he didn't like being picked on. So instead of fighting him man to man, jaw to jaw, fist to fist, he went to Sam Smith and told him stories, behind the scenes stories that Sam was able to use. No, that's what Sam's job was, to be an investigative reporter. And he used said stories in the Jordan rules. But the point was, Michael wasn't trying to pick on Horace. He just needed him to play better. And I promise you, it worked. Horace Grant lived in fear of Michael's wrath. He, just like a coach that you played for that you feared, where like Dan Reeves, you lived in fear that he was going to give you an ass cutting if you didn't play. Right. He was going to maybe embarrass you in public if you didn't live up to what you were as a football player. So Horace Grant lived in fear of the leader of the team. And that's why I've always said Phil Jackson was very lucky, because the real leader of those dynastic Bulls teams was Michael Jordan, not Phil Jackson. The man they looked to in the end was Jordan, not Phil. Jordan made all the biggest calls. Jordan was the one who set the tone and drove that team and motivated it. And he didn't have to say anything. It was by deed. It was by example. It was, hey, if you don't play, you don't eat on the team plane home. He was the last word on that team and on that flight home. And I loved it because it produced 6 championships that should have been 8 or 9 or 10, given the last dance. And every time he played in the finals, he backed it up with an MVP. So it's not being a bully, it's just being a leader.
Skip, I believe you can lead. Look, John Elway was our leader, but I would not tolerate disrespect. And I didn't want to let him down. So I made sure I dotted all my I's and crossed all my T's. I made sure I was prepared. I knew he was counting on me, and I wanted him to count on me. I wanted him to need and depend on me like the first and the 15th. But, Skip, if you remember the movie A Few Good Men, Loudon and Downey thought they were doing a good job, but they were picking on Santiago. That's what they did. And they ended up, you know the story. They ended up, no, Skip. You can be the leader. You can be the leader without disrespecting me. Because, hey, I'm going to tell you one time, bro, I don't get down like that. That's it. Now, when a man tell you to leave that alone, he don't get down like that, take him at his word. No matter how big or small you think, Skip, everything will fight you if pushed to the brink. I'm just saying, no matter how weak you think someone is, you push them far enough, they'll go. I'm one of those guys, you don't have to push me that far, because I'm going to tell you, bruh, leave that alone. I'm done with it. I'm done with it, Skip. I'm not going to keep, okay.
Okay, but Shannon, you didn't play for Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls. And you wouldn't have lasted long with Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls because you would have challenged Michael Jordan and you would have lost that battle in the end. He would just say, get him out of here, and you would have been gone.
Yeah, they got me up out of there. Yeah, they would have, Skip. But see, guess what?
Yeah.
I'm going to leave the way I came because I came to Chicago as a man. I'm leaving as a man. You're not finna emasculate me. You're not finna strip me of my dignity. Man, Michael say don't feed him, and they didn't feed him. Shh, I wish they might. Guarantee you, I'm going to get mine, Skip Bayless. But guess what I'd have done on the way out? Whipped him. And they'd have told that story. I'll see if they'd have put that in the last day.